In an exciting episode, after learning about the incredible power of the sword of Bram, Desire found out that Bram couldn't wield the sword and decided to sell it at any cost. At this time, Desire was shocked to discover that a boy had already sold the sword. So, Desire decided to visit the seller to try to retrieve the sword once again. What problems and difficulties will they face? Follow the episode to the end to find out everything. Our episode starts with Desire and Bram wandering inside the market. Desire remarks to himself that this place hasn't changed at all, and it's where he used to shop before the time reversal. Bram stops and points to a street, telling Desire that this is the place they're looking for. Desire mentions that he has never been here before. Desire and Bram walk together until they reach a green door with a sign that reads, Woken Store, which also states that there are no refunds, even for defective products. Desire comments on the obsession with money. Bram then informs him that he has no intention of ever wielding the sword again. Desire smiles and asks if he wouldn't consider giving him a chance. We then see Desire, Bram, and the seller inside the store. They knock on the inner door, and a huge man opens it, asking them to come in. While walking inside, Desire realizes that the place is heavily guarded. The store owner greets them and mentions that he saw Bram's face yesterday, but Desire's face is new to him. He then welcomes them and asks if they came to buy or sell. Desire informs him that he's here to take the sword. The store owner points out the sign outside indicating the no refunds policy. Desire insists that he'll buy it, and the man places the sword on the table. He tells them that the sword has no intrinsic value, but it has an unusual quality. He was about to reveal more when Desire interrupts and says that the sword is a kimifin. The store owner is surprised and asks if Desire knows anything about it. Desire remembers Romantica's gift and informs them that this type of sword is used by nobles as a gift to express love. The store owner, intrigued, shares more about the sword and its significance. Now, Desire and Bram must find a way to reclaim the sword. Unfortunately, he didn't know how to open it. Desire asked about its price, and the store owner mentioned that it cost 40 silver pieces. This angered Bram because he had sold it for only 3 silver pieces without disclosing that it was a kimifin. The store owner explained that Bram had asked him to appraise the sword, and he valued it at 3 silver pieces. But now, he was selling it as a kimifin for 40 silver pieces. This infuriated Bram, and he called the store owner a charlatan, but Desire stopped him and told him that the store owner was right. Desire approached the store owner and placed the silver pieces on the table, agreeing to buy it for 40 silver pieces. Bram was surprised, and the store owner was also taken aback because Desire didn't hesitate to pay the asking price. Desire explained that it was all he could afford. The store owner took the money, handed the sword to Desire, and remarked that looking at it wouldn't help a beginner like him open it. Desire used his eye magic on the sword and then handed it to Bram, asking him to try to open it. Bram held the sword and, following Desire's instructions, found a button on the hilt, which he pulled. To his amazement, the sword opened. Indeed, he managed to open the sword and draw it from its scabbard, but he was extremely surprised because the sword was not made of iron or silver. It was made of a material he had never seen before, one that emitted such a radiant glow. Desire informed them that it was made of blancium, a material stronger than steel and lighter than a feather, used only in the highest quality and craftsmanship of weapons. At this moment, the seller was astounded and shocked by this revelation since blancium was a metal with remarkable properties. Desire reminisced about Bram using it in the future. Desire and Bram then decided to head back home. However, as they walked, they were intercepted by a massive, muscular man. Desire asked him to step aside, but the seller, who was now infuriated, told them that the giant man wouldn't move until they left the sword. Desire informed the seller that he had bought the sword from him as a kimifin and had paid for it. The seller, surprised, looked at them and confirmed that the purchase had indeed been completed successfully. At this point, the seller informed them that things were not as they seemed, as the sword was now made of blancium. Desire reminded him that he had just told Bram the same thing a while ago and asked if he would retract his statement now. The seller got angry and shouted at Desire. In this moment, Desire remembered his future friend who was also massive like the current opponent. The opponent attempted to strike Desire with a powerful blow using a massive mace, but Desire skillfully dodged it. Bram, on the other hand, stood his ground like a defending lion. Although he didn't like fighting, he was ready to pounce on his foe now. Desire reminded him that he had said he wouldn't use the sword again. This embarrassed Bram, but Desire placed his hand on Bram's head and asked him to show what he could do with this massive opponent. A fierce battle ensued between Bram and the muscular opponent. The opponent delivered a powerful blow, but Bram evaded it at the right moment. Bram was agile enough to handle the situation. However, Bram needed to be cautious of the opponent's powerful attacks, which could be lethal if they landed. He was still a relatively inexperienced youth. Bram then used his extraordinary ability, causing his sword and body to emit a lightning-like glow. The opponent laughed at him and leaped high into the air before charging at Bram. Bram dodged the attack at the right moment, and then he struck a powerful blow to the opponent's back. Bram followed up with a flurry of rapid strikes, resembling a machine gun firing multiple rounds. The opponent was caught off guard and couldn't keep up with the speed and ferocity of Bram's attacks. Bram then stepped back to catch his breath, knowing that victory was just moments away. However, the opponent started to adapt to Bram's incredible speed. The battle continued, with both sides pushing their limits in this intense combat. Then Bram leaped into the air, aiming to strike the massive opponent's head with a powerful blow. However, the massive man was much smarter and more experienced in combat. He landed a strong kick, which sent Bram crashing to the ground. At this moment, the opponent moved closer, seemingly to finish off Bram, but Desire motivated Bram again. As Bram grabbed the sword, he saw the strange inscriptions on it, but it held a secret that he couldn't reveal at this time. He gripped the sword with all his strength, even though he didn't know the secret of the inscriptions. Bram swiftly lunged at the giant man, attempting to strike him. The man tried to counter with his large sword, and Desire shouted a warning to Bram, but Bram was too strong. He grabbed the man's sword and brought it down with great force, cutting it in half. Then, he struck the man and knocked him to the ground, leaving Desire astounded. Bram informed Desire that he had managed to defeat the giant man and that, without the sword, he would have been the one lying on the ground. He credited his victory to his father and thanked Desire for his support. Desire congratulated him, and they decided to leave the store. As they left, the merchant laughed mockingly, telling them that they wouldn't be able to go anywhere, as only the person they had just defeated could open the door. If they wanted to leave, they would have to leave the sword behind. Bram didn't pay heed to the merchant's words and used his powerful sword to split the door in half. The merchant was in shock and couldn't utter a word. Bram and Desire exited the store. Afterward, the two of them headed back to the market. Desire asked Bram if he was hungry and suggested finding something to eat. Bram confirmed that he was indeed very hungry. Desire went to buy some meat skewers for them to eat, and Bram thanked him not just for the skewers but for the sword as well. Desire replied that they were a team, and they supported each other to become stronger. When a friend is in trouble, it's natural for the other to help, and Desire was moved by those words, causing him to cry, which made Bram tense because he thought he didn't like it. But Bram told him it's not because of that, but because he had been through a lot before coming here, where he had lost everything he believed in and didn't know what to do. Now he has a person he considers his friend, and he is extremely happy with this friendship. Desire calmed him down and gave him the food to eat before it got cold. Bram thanked him for this delicious meal and then did the same with his parents, thanking them a lot. He had met a very good person whom he could rely on in times of crisis, and he didn't want them to worry anymore. He would walk his path with him along with the words left for him. Then we moved to Romantica, who was in the training yard, using her powers to aim the ball at the center of the wall. She commanded the ball to stop, and it did, landing in the center of the drawn circle. Romantica was very happy because she succeeded this time. She decided to train more to succeed even more and make Desire see her as a winner. However, she remembered that she was alone in the room, So she looked at the ball again and decided to use her magic for the second time. So, we see Romantica training to aim her magic at a specific location, and when she succeeded, she was very happy. Then we see Romantica waiting for the boy, and when he arrives, he thanks her for waiting and suggests going to a restaurant to eat. The boy offers to pay for the meal, but Romantica thanks him and mentions that the food is delicious. He then asks if she came to meet him to apologize, to which she responds that she came here to return something to him. This surprises him, and he asks if she means she doesn't want to date him. Romantica clarifies that she has joined the beta chapter of the Moonlight Party and explains that the leader is training her to improve her skills. The boy laughs and finds it illogical, but Romantica expresses that she didn't like it at first but is now enjoying her time in the party. She also mentions that the leader is training her. The boy questions her decision to join, given that all the beta members are considered trash. He is angry and says that if he had known she was a commoner, he wouldn't have invited her to his party. Romantica advises him not to underestimate them too much. The scene shifts to the man saying, "Kill the nobles," and the palace is set on fire as they plan to cut off the head of the house owner. The crowd cheers for the nobles to be killed. The boy cries out for his father, and the scene returns to the boy who was talking to Romantica, who is now very angry. He calls the commoners lowly scum. The episode ends at that point.